been like?
My experience with language is a little bit unusual. When I was born, my parents spoke to me only in Chinese up to the point where I was about 4 years old. I lived in China from the point when I was 3 years old till after I turned four and moved back to Canada subsequently. When I started kindergarten in Canada, I could not speak a word of English because my parents had been exposing me to the Chinese language, and I had the 2 years of life in China that really helped me adapt to Chinese as basically the only language I knew. So I was placed in an ESL program in a French immersion school. How ironic is that?
Do you feel that you've had any advantages for being multilingual?
I definitely think Chinese has been more of a personal reward for me because my younger brother, who thought there was no incentive to keep up with Chinese, basically just let it go and forgot it. And when our grandparents visit, he always tries to talk to them, but the only thing he can utter out is broken Chinese and words of English. So the level at which I can communicate with my grandparents is a lot more profound and a lot more solid and meaningful than the level at which my brother communicates with them. And for Spanish, I really like the volunteer and outreach opportunities that it's open for me. For example, I do some document translation for a non-governmental, nonprofit Christian organization.
How do you keep up with the languages you've learned?
Obviously, I keep up with English because it's a language I speak on a day-to-day basis with almost everyone I meet. I keep up with Chinese by speaking it at home with my parents, and even though I don't see my grandparents face to face until like once every 2 years, I try to call them as often as I can.
Are there any languages that you wish to learn in the future?
Definitely like to learn Hebrew because I grew up in a pretty religious family, and the Hebrew language is a big part of interpreting scriptures. So a lot of the pastors, when they preach, they say this word in Hebrew means this, and I really think it would be very good to be able to do that firsthand and also appreciate the Jewish culture even more. And finally, I'd like to pick up French again.
What is the impact that being exposed to different languages has had on you?
I definitely think multilingualism has prepared me to become a better global citizen, especially in a world where globalization is rampant and basically there's an emphasis on interdependence and collaboration between people of various roots, various backgrounds, various nations. I think being able to speak the language of someone else really allows me to connect with them and really make for better business transactions, better personal transactions, and I think being multilingual really gives you a huge advantage in a global society over those who just speak one language.
Blue jeans, white shirt. Walked into the room, you know you made my eyes burn. It was like James Dean, for sure. You're so fresh to death and sick as cancer.